In this lesson, I want to talk about 3 famous samba styles who are a little bit different in the way you translate them to the drum set. You will see. I'm talking about Maracas, I'm talking about Foshay, and the last one, Samba Reggae. So, the first one, the Maracas, if you want to play this samba style, you have to change the bass drum figure. That's not the typical foot pattern as we know. You have to change a little bit. But before I play it, please listen to original Maracas samba. So you hear very good this balancado feel, this 60-note phrase who isn't straight and is like rolling and swambling and however you will call it. So, but the important thing for us drummers is now we have to change the bass drum and hi-hat pattern. The hi-hat isn't on the offbeat. The hi-hat is now like a timekeeper on the 1 and 2. And the bass drum pattern, I write it out so you can see, the bass drum plays like this. 1, 2, 1, 2. So, also a copy from the Pseudo patterns. There are different Pseudo patterns, different players in the traditional style, and that is the mix and one variation. There are many more, but one variation I choose to play in this stuff. And you hear it's not the same as in the samba batucada. So that's very important for this Maracas. Okay, the next one on top is the snare drum pattern in the traditional way. It is the tarol pattern, and it was the snare pattern, if you remember, with the bass roll at the second note. Sounds like this. 1, 2, 1, 2. And this together with the feet sounds like this. 1, 2, 1, 2. So you hear I play a little bit this bass stuff, and I try to import a little bit of this balancado feel. So, and if you are a freak like me, you can add on this the typical Maracas agogo bell pattern, and it was this one. So this is one of the famous agogo pattern, and it has to be played in the Maracas. Now the difficult thing is we have to play the snare pattern in one hand. So like this. So I play the second note, the bass roll. I'll cut the third note, the end is gone, and I play the last 60 note again. And I try to play this in the left hand only. So now the same with the bass drum figure, and it sounds like this. 1, 2, 1, 2. So on, so on, and so on. Believe me, this is really fun to check that out in your rehearsal room, and yeah, it's good for the coordination and for the independence for us drummers. Okay, just enough Maracas 2. The next one I want to talk about is a Foshay. It's also a special kind of samba in this whole family, a special samba style, also with a different bass drum pattern. So not this typical doom 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 doom. Is another one I will show you. It goes like this: 1, 2, 1, 2. So, and so on, and so on, and so on. In the traditional way, they have two different pseudo tones, a low one and a high one. So they play like this. But I mean, with one bass drum, it's not possible. So we play it in that way. So the second groove I want to talk about is a Foshay. It's also another samba style in this big family of samba rhythm, and this comes traditionally from Salvador. And before I explain the translate on the drum set, listen to percussion, a Foshay. So what you can hear is also another bass drum or pseudo variations. Not the typical batucada samba bass drum, this one. It's another one, and if I copy this from the pseudo in the bass drum and in the hi-hat, I get this. 1, 2, 1, 2. So the pseudo pattern would be in the original way like this. And this, what I'm copying now into the bass drum. The Kaisha pattern for a Foshay, I show you in the lesson before, but I repeat it for a second, is this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you hear the first accent isn't on the 1, it's the second 16 note. That's why I'm playing the hi-hat a little bit for a timekeeper. So put these two rhythms together, sounds like a typical Foshay adaptation to the drum set. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's one way, or you can do the freaky version like me. I copy the also the typical Foshay agogo bell pattern on top. Just to remind, it was that one. And now I play in my left hand on the snare drum only the accents. I can't play the whole thing. So only the accents, and a little special what I do, I play the hi-hat in 8 notes now, because I want to have a little bit more of this shaker sound, like this. So this together sounds like a typical Foshay. 1, 2, 1, 2. something like that. There are a lot of other variations you can do, but that was one that yeah, I like and I want to show you. The third and the last one I want to talk about, it's called Samba Reggae. This one is a slower variation of samba grooves or samba styles, and you will hear a little bit of this influences from reggae, from the Caribbean. So you have a little bit more offbeat feeling, and you have also another pseudo or bass drum pattern what you can play there. So the third and last one I want to talk about, it's called Samba Reggae. So this samba style is a little bit slower, and you will hear a little bit more of the influences from the reggae from Jamaica, the Caribbean. So you have a little bit more offbeat feeling in that style. Listen to the example I have. So the first thing what you hear is different pseudo patterns. So like in the other two examples before, not the typical bass drum batucada rhythm, and the pseudo rhythm what I now want to play on and translate on my floor toms, it's sound like this. So, and if you can remember, one of the famous Caixa patterns is including the accents from the bossa clave. I repeat it: 1, 2, 1, 2. So now I have to play this snare drum rhythm, all notes in one hand, my left hand, and with the right hand pseudo pattern together. 1, 2, 1, 2. So what I'm doing now, and what you can also do, I steal now the typical bass drum pattern which you don't have in the Samba Reggae, but I play it as the background to this rhythm with bass drum and hi-hat. I mean that one. This is also a good example for the short version, because I have a lot of 60 notes going here on the floor toms, and maybe it's going to be crashed, so I don't like this chaos with 60 notes. So put it together, sound like a typical Samba Reggae on drum set. 1, 2, 1, 2. So at the end you hear I open the hi-hat a little bit more, so to have more higher sounds and not only this dry sounds. The last variation of that, maybe it is a little bit easier because the snare drum plays only the offbeat accent like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So only the third note is the accent, and all notes are playing in the left hand, and the right hand doing a typical variation for the pseudos with 3 different tones. So that you can also hear. By the way, the example I had was a 3-note pseudo pattern, 3-tone pseudo pattern, and it's going like this. Yo, maybe altogether are nice variations for these different styles, and also fun to work that out. And believe me, if you practice stuff like that, you will getting better coordination. So, yeah, that was the lesson for Drum Set Groove, Maracas, Foshay, and Samba Reggae. Hope you like it, and yeah, check it out.